welcome Miguel to the show. Appreciate you coming on, bro. I really, really do. Moving on from that, Liverpool won last night. Champions elect, I think most of us would agree. If they don't win it from here, burn the club down, I think, because it would be the biggest collapse in the history of English top-flight football. You're going to win it. But I want to speak a little bit about Mo Salah. I want to focus on Mo Salah specifically for the next little bit of the show. And viewers, I really want to get your opinions on this as well, because I think it's an important conversation. The first part of it is this. Jamie Carragher, it got ignored, really, because he butchered and the way he disrespected and butchered AFCON. But he was talking about, with another league title, he believes Mo Salah is going to surpass Kenny Dalglish and Steven Gerrard as the greatest Liverpool player of all time. And you're going to win that league title now. So I'm going to go with Jamie Carragher here, who is best friends with Steven Gerrard and the Liverpool legend himself. Mo Salah is about to be crowned the king of Liverpool. Is he, though, or could he become, over the next couple of years, the Premier League's GOAT?
I don't see why not.
Explain that.
If he stays until, let's just say, 2028, another 3 years after this, and I'm not expecting him to keep doing these numbers. These are generational type numbers. I don't think that he'd be able to keep this level of production up across 4 years. But if we just averaged out to what he normally does, which is about 25 goals and 10 to 15 assists in a season, if we averaged back out to that, and we done that across the next 3 years, we're talking about 75 goals and close to 50 assists, on top of what he's already done, where you could add another 1 or 2 league titles, another 1 or 2 Champions Leagues, another 1 or 2 Player of the Years, another 1 or 2 Golden Boots, another 1 or 2 Playmaker Awards. If he does that, any measurable metric, bar the goal scoring record in the league, which I don't know how far off he is on that, so I don't know what he needs to catch that up. But every other measurable metric, bar most assists and most goals, Mohamed Salah will be leading it. Mohamed Salah will be the face of the Premier League in terms of most Player of the Years, most Golden Boots, most Playmaker Awards. You know, he's added the one thing, he should do, provided there's no foolery in the voting this year. He should add the one thing that is seen as the game changer when it comes to these debates, which is a Ballon d'Or. He adds a Ballon d'Or this year. He becomes only I think it would be the fourth, because of Rodri now, player to win a Ballon d'Or whilst in the Premier League. You know, I don't see what the argument would be if, come 2028, we're talking about Mohamed Salah having 250 Premier League goals, 100 odd assists, 4 Player of the Years, 4 Golden Boots, 3 Playmaker Awards. What would the argument be? Oh, he doesn't dribble nice on the eye. Oh, he looks a bit stiff when he kicks the ball. That doesn't matter. He would be, in any measurable metric, the best. He would be the gold standard. I don't see how, if he goes on to achieve all that, he wouldn't be that. And I'm not saying he is that now. There was a clear sort of thing with what I said. It needs to be across another 3 years where he's putting up really good numbers again. But I don't see, if he does that, what the argument against him would be. I don't see what you could push against.
I hope he's leaving.
I'm sure everyone hopes he's leaving.
Yeah, because I don't want him to stay and to even entertain these conversations, because I think Henry, at this moment in time, he's going to eclipse his assist record. He's going to have a better statistical season than Henry ever had in his career at Arsenal. And he's going to go on to win the league right now. That's 2 league titles. He already has the Champions League. If he goes and does the Champions League again, that's going to further his legacy at Liverpool. But the thing about Henry is, Henry has the impact and influence that he had over the Premier League at the time. He had so much influence, bringing the game and making it more worldwide known. He brought the French in contingency. He brought more eyes onto the Premier League, and he was one of the faces when the Premier League was going boom, going against the Serie A and some of the other leagues. When they had all the superstars, he was the superstar of the Premier League, one of the main guys who's marketed across the world. Mo Salah, even in this age when the Premier League dominates, he's not the face that dominates the headlines and is always constantly advertised.
I think he will be. You're actually wrong about that.
I don't think he's the guy. I think there's times where you look at it, Erling Haaland's the guy. There's times where other players are popping in and out. Mo Salah has never
somebody
been
who works in
beat
sports marketing across the world. I actually got a cease and desist because we were using his image too much, and then we had to explain to him that we used other images somewhere else. His image, like Mo Salah, is who people know from the Prem right now. Outside of,
do you know what?
It's just fact.
I want to throw a few things at you when you say that, and I mean it from this perspective. Henry was one of the faces of the Premier League, but he wasn't the face. And I tell you as to why. You're looking at that from an Arsenal perspective because you were a Gooner. When Henry was in his pomp, I don't think we can not pretend that the likes of course, David Beckham was still in the Premier League, who was a massive face here. You had Wayne Rooney that was coming through, who was a massive face of the Premier League. There was Frank Lampard as an example. There was Didier Drogba. These were all, and there'll be other names who were just, Alan Shearer. Henry was one of the faces. He's one of the GOATs. He's one of the greatest, there's no doubt. But he wasn't the only light. And your point there about bringing in international fans, let us not pretend like there aren't hundreds of millions of people from the Arab nations, from the Middle East, who look up to this man, who, like Mo Salah is, I think, is one of the pivotal. There's the reason they want to pay him the most obscene amount of money to go and play there because of what he's worth. He's bringing an entire region and a whole new group of people eyes to the Premier League. I think not only to Liverpool will it be a big miss if he goes. I think the Premier League, if he whatever league Mo Salah goes to at weekends, that's hundreds of millions of people that will start watching that league instead. I think Mo Salah is exceedingly marketable if we're going down that route.
Mohamed Salah makes Liverpool a hell of a lot of money in terms of the image rights and stuff. And, if we're talking about influence, I think Mohamed Salah was the first footballer to ever be featured in like a Times magazine, for the most influential people. Mohamed Salah was in that. This is the level that we're talking about here. We're not talking about, he wore gloves and had long sleeves and he had the aura about him. No, we're talking about a guy who is a global influence on multiple levels. If he go on a purely footballing level, he keeps this up. He surpasses every metric Henry had. But I'm just assuming that this season he'll win a Golden Boot and a Playmaker, a Player of the Year, because I don't think there's really much argument otherwise on those three. He does that. He's matched Henry's Golden Boot total. He's matched Henry's Player of the Year total. And I think he's either matched or surpassed his Playmaker total. I think he'd be one Premier League behind at that point with a second Premier League.
How many years? I think if he wins the Champions League this season. If he wins the Champions League this season,
isn't it more years also?
Yeah, on that,
2017.
We're mentoring Henry, and we know the numbers are great. Has Mo Salah been a more influential player, a more successful player than Wayne Rooney, than Ryan Giggs? Would you put him above those players in the Premier League era?
Yeah, I'd say yeah. If you're looking at what he's going to do or what he's on course to do, we're talking about a guy who is going to have pretty much every record. This is the level we can
put him over Rooney.
Yeah. And what I'm saying, and everything I'm saying is contingent. If Mohamed Salah left this season, we could have the arguments, but I'd have a lot less of a. I wouldn't have a stronger point. I get what you mean by records, but a midfielder is never going to have the same goal scoring records as an attacker. So it's if you get where I'm coming from, because
but you know that the attackers are the ones that get all the glory. Like that's just how it is because they have the stats. So it's not really fair to like a defender or a midfielder that might be phenomenal, but the guy that's scoring all the goals is going to get most of the praise because that's what people care to talk about. I think Mo Salah could definitely be in that conversation. I don't see how if you're going to do, let's say, an all-time Premier League starting 11, I don't see how you don't have him in there. Mm-hmm. Now, again, at the same time, I'm not sure who would get dropped, right? I only started watching football 10 years ago, so a lot of these guys who are considered like all-timers, I didn't really get to see them like most of you guys more than likely have. But I think based off what Tom is saying, I do agree. If Salah does sign a new contract at Liverpool, right? Let's say he signs a 3-year extension and he's here for 3 more years and he's relatively fit. Even if he slows down, the output that Salah has is still going to be better than what a lot of other attackers are. So now you're talking about he's going to win the Premier League this season, right? They have a very good chance to win the Champions League. And then who knows what the future holds if they backslot and then they do spend money in the summer and then they do get a little bit better. Now he might win more than just 2. He could end up leaving with like 3 or 4. I think that he definitely 100% has a very strong case to be considered the GOAT. But I just think it's so subjective because some people are going to care about stats, but then other people are going to care about what it looks like on the eye. Like that's why you still have, for example, like the Hazard and Salah conversation, or just different things like that. Because even though Salah is superior to Hazard when it comes to numbers and longevity, but when you watch like Hazard, for example, it makes you feel better. So it's subjective. So it has to be like something that we all can agree on.
Yeah, I